Yeah, they're a little shuffle. Good? Okay. All right, I'm going to call the April 8th, 2025 Finance and Agenda meeting to order. And we'll go through attendance. We have Jess Brennan, we have Bill McPartland, Jason Moskowitz, Kara Parks. Janet is not here, right? No. Elena Finnan, Michelle Martinelli, Josh Panisha, I think is here. Diane Percy, Eric Amberger, Laura Robertson. Who did I forget? Lori Peretti. And Chief Koshan. Did I forget anybody? Ray, did I say your name? I don't think I did. Call you right out, Ray, right in the beginning of the meeting. Okay. We only have 2 items on here for finance action and discussion. The first one is finance approval to purchase a copier for the Justice Court. They did actually have a grant that came in a little bit lower than we had anticipated. So we agreed to cover the remainder of the cost of the purchase from the operating fund. So that's the one that's on here. Any discussion on that? I think, do you guys remember this conversation? Okay, good. All right, so do I need a motion for that? I'll take a motion for that.
Motion to approve the purchase of the copier for the Justice Court.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, great. And then the only other thing for discussion is the Niskaday fireworks. So I'm in a weird position because I work a lot with the Niskaday committee, and I don't ever watch the fireworks, which is a sad thing, but I do the parade, which is like 4 a.m. So I'm never awake when the fireworks are going off. I heard the fireworks last year were much shorter than other years had been. So I don't know that for a fact, so I can't even attest to that, but this is what I've heard. Like they thought it was a intermission, but then nothing happened afterwards. So that's sort of sad. So the conversation we had with the provider, there was something that happened with the company, maybe like the provider of the fireworks was not the same person or not the same people that were doing the actual like pyrotechnics part of it. And that split caused a little bit of confusion. So that might have been a part of it. But then also they shared, just like everything else, the cost of fireworks has gone up. So I gave information to the Niskaday committee who met yesterday, and they wanted to ask if it would be all right to spend more money on the fireworks. Typically, I think the last few years it's been $5,500, and they said that they're still working with the fireworks place, but they said if they could get approval to up to $7,500, which they don't think it would be that much, that would cover what people are used to for the fireworks presentation. So I think I may actually ask for, the resolution is on here for consideration, but just because of the role that I'm in, I probably will kind of step away from it because it is more money than we typically are, but I'd love to get your feedback on it. I don't even know how it came about because I thought somebody else used to sponsor the fireworks. So I'm not sure how the town got into it, but.
As far as I know, we've been sponsoring it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever heard of an abbreviated presentation or anything like that. But the amount has been, I think, $5,500 for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
We haven't increased that amount. So.
Also, that's our one donation towards Niskaday, except for our police presence that we also.
And highway. The barricades. So we have a lot of in-kind donation, but this is the only monetary, straight monetary donation that we do. So.
I definitely remember a noticeable difference last year. I mean, I remember the same thing, sitting there thinking, that's weird, they're taking such a long break, and then everybody got up and walked away.
That's what I heard. Like, so that was cool, but that's the end.
And then all of a sudden it was over.
Where did they come up with the $7,500?
They may have even just thrown it out. The last time that I was involved in an email chain back and forth with the fireworks company, and they had said, just to get the same thing that we did last year, this year is going to be $6,000. So if you want something more, then we have to talk about a little bit more money. And so I think they were thinking 1,500 was up to 1,500 would be a more reasonable, like would put us in a reasonable range to not ask for a ton more money, but then also to have a better show.
Usually they do it on time, right? And then I don't know. My recollection is way back, I may have looked at some sort of contract or some sort of agreement that kind of spelled out some of the specifics
Yeah.
of either length of time and types of displays, that sort of thing.
What they said was sort of, we could lengthen the show by just spacing everything out a ton, or we could add more fireworks in the spacing. So they're like, we could make it a longer presentation, but it might not have as much pizzazz as it has.
I do think it's an important part of the day. It brings a lot of kids and teenagers and families and older people like me out to be together. You know, it is a great day, and I think it's nice the town has always sponsored that piece of it.
I think that's an important part of the day, but I think the whole day is important. I mean, like you said, it gets the
Yeah.
entire community in one spot, and that only
Yeah.
happens once a year. So if we have to spend an extra $1,000 to make the day worth it, I think it's
Okay, so why don't I
Worth
get
it
more
for the community,
specifics?
I'd be a little
Like-
more comfortable with that kind of number, like
Yeah.
6,500 rather than 7,500,
yeah.
and see how that works.
They weren't even totally sure about the 7,500. I think it was more like, if we were going to ask for more, what would be the max that we would ask for? Because I don't think they've gone back and forth with the company yet. They were just sort of like 6,000 for what was last year. And then if you want a little bit more or us to space it out a little bit longer, it would be,
So it'd be 6,000 for what we saw last year. I'd be curious to see what a quote would be for what we saw 2 years ago, and then see if we can find some common ground somewhere in the middle.
okay, do you want me to do that? And then I can just float it by everybody and see what you think? Okay, that's a plan. Okay. Resolutions that we have for the agenda part of the meeting. Resolution to authorize entering into an MOU with Schenectady County regarding a solar consortium. This is actually something we're already involved in. They made some modifications to the agreement that they explained in great detail. It has something to do with the way that they allocate the credits to all of the different cities in the county. The sample resolution that they sent was basically just in support of the county's agreement with them. This would just be our MOU, our memorandum of understanding that, okay, this is how the credits are going to be allocated. It didn't seem to have an impact on us financially. This is the program that we have solar panels all over the county. They get a bunch of National Grid credit. They divvy the credit out throughout the county for various reasons. They've been super flexible and communicative with me about other areas that might benefit more from the credits. But that's sort of I can have him bullet out the specifics and I'll send that through, but from what I can see, it doesn't have any impact on the credits that they're offering us. It's just a small agreement change. Good? Okay. Resolution to authorize certain budgetary modifications and interfund transfers. Do you want to go over that, Kara? It's a longer list, but we're kind of cleaning up last year, correct?
Mike,
Oh. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Well, I hear the crackle, so I feel like you should be able to hear you.
Let's mute.
Joe's an expert.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so you were saying we're just cleaning up last
We're
year.
just cleaning up last year.
And then the next one was the Niskayday fireworks, which we'll have more information on. The next one is to appoint members to the Farmers Market Committee and set fees for 2025. Some changes coming to the Farmers Market this year. Most of the members that are there now were there before, but we've just had some folks drop off. So we have a more accurate list of the committee members, and then the fees have not changed. but the location may change. So we'll get some more information on that once everything is set up and solid. But we just wanted to make sure that we had the correct established committee. And then a resolution authorizing payments to Tyler Technologies for annual licensing for the town's accounting system, Munis. Kind of an unexciting one. And with that, do you have anything more to add for finance and general government? You got?
I'd like to put a tentative resolution up. I don't know if we're going to get quotes fast enough or finalized, but we've been talking about a new camera system for the town.
Mhm.
So I'd like to get that on the agenda in 2 weeks in case something comes through. We're working with 3 different vendors. I'm just kind of going back and forth with them to kind of dot the i's and cross the t's, get everyone on the same page. We're close. We also have funding for this. Kara found, I don't want to say found some money, but there was a line that we could use for it that would cover the bulk of it. So, it's already kind of money just hanging out there for security and cabling. So I'd like to get that squared away.
I think originally we were going to take it from that money that Beth had moved for upgrades to building safety. And then we found something else for safety that we could use. That was money that was already set aside. So between the two,
Yeah, and the difference that isn't in that fund you were just talking about is probably $4 or $5 grand. So
I think
Perfect.
that's great. Okay.
Josh, you and I talked about this a little bit. This is going to be cameras for all of town hall, correct?
all of town hall,
This
and
side
PD,
and the police department side,
correct, and the
right?
parking lots.
In the parking lot. So that's a lot of cameras.
It is. It's 36 or so. We're adding a couple, and some inside that make more sense. Like there's actually not a camera above the metal detectors in case something happens in court. The police officers have body cams on when they do that, but still. And there were a couple blind spots in the building that we should probably kind of find a spot for. They're not going anywhere where people work. They're not going to go in like people's offices or areas like that, just the common areas of town hall. And then with the exception of PD for obvious reasons. So yeah,
So this is only for the town hall campus here. It's not for.
correct. And then with the systems that we're looking at, they can actually grow. And it's really nice because I've heard some people talk about some issues at like Blatnick Park and stuff like that. And these can all you can add onesie, twosie cameras that maybe like don't have traditional internet. Through our FirstNet agreement with the cell phone provider, we can put a cell phone card in there and then they can go back to the same interface where people can view the cameras and you can do it through permissions and stuff like that. So,
That's,
We had one at the town pool in the summer.
right.
Yeah.
Like, why is there not a camera at town pool?
I feel
We
like-
had one there.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we had one there.
It's just we didn't. Yeah, I feel like at all of the parks it would be valuable, just given some
It's
of
like
the
a CYA thing,
vandalism
like,
that's happened
if
too.
anything.
Yeah.
And
Well-
also all the storage will be in-house. It's not cloud-based. I feel like that's a little bit of an important thing to point out. It does make it a little more expensive, but I think that me and I talked to Chief Cochin about it, and it definitely makes the most sense to keep that in our building, not in the cloud somewhere. Plus, you don't pay a subscription fee when you do it that way. So
And we have enough server space.
it's provided with the units.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we can add to them. And then actually the new IT person used to work very closely with one of the systems we're thinking about buying. So we have a, in-house expert per se on it.
That's great.
So I'll have, if I end up getting the quotes fast enough, I'll get them in front of everyone and we can talk about it whenever you want. But I just wanted to have a feeling it's going to come like maybe tomorrow or the end of the week. And I just didn't want to have to wait another month.
Very great.
Could you email us the quotes so we can make sure we're like.
Yeah. And then they have both the vendors drew little heat maps for the outside so you can see where the coverage is. There's one spot in the back parking lot. I think we're going to have to add extra or add after by the solar panel to get a better vantage point. And a lot of that's just going to come down to having a conversation about getting power out there and leveraging the lamppost, but it's not a huge deal. We get 85-90% of the parking lot by cameras on the side of the building by getting creative with like the fixed zoom of them and stuff like that. So
Sounds good. I appreciate you doing the work. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right. So we can actually move on to water, sewer, and engineering.
Okay, so just a few resos this month. First one is a resolution to authorize an MOU with the CSEA Water and Sewer Bargaining Unit regarding sleep time for the cruise. It's been something that we've been working on for quite a while. It was also part of the negotiations for the last contract. It was something that was pushed forward just so we get the contract finished up. And I think we're all happy with the language. The next is to appoint a maintenance worker in the water and sewer crew. That's actually a current highway department employee. Very thankful that Ray would be willing to give up one of his good workers, but he happened to work with our crews on a couple of our emergencies and enjoyed the work and inquired about moving to our crew. So thank you for Ray, and we have all the information, and Civil Service is happy with his application, so to move forward with that. And the next one is a resolution to authorize refunds for full transfer station punch cards. We found that we had a handful of people that came in as we were getting close to the closure of the transfer station that had bulk purchased some of their cards, and we're looking to help out with some of those that have full cards that have no punches on them at all. It wouldn't be a ton of cards, but it would just be very difficult for people to use all the cards that they have collected over the years.
Yeah, some people had quite a few.
3 or 4
Yeah.
cards, which
So they're $20 a piece, and this would be we didn't really have a mechanism for refunding them, so this would be it's probably end up being, I think, a couple $100 from what we figured out. But
okay, that's all I have. Any questions? All right, thank you.
thanks, Matt. And highway parks, we'll start with highway and parks, please.
Good evening. Number 11, 10 of it, resolution to hire a grounds worker. We're still interviewing. We try to interview in case any other departments need our employees.
Who's waiting for it?
So nice of you
We've got
to
a big
share.
broad spectrum on that.
You just built television.
So if I do find a candidate, I will get the paperwork in time for Elena to do a board resolution. Number 12, a resolution to enter in a contract for resurfacing of town-owned basketball courts. We were able to get quotes to redo all the basketball courts, a double court in Blatnick, a single court in River Road, and a single court in Avon Crest. So the upgrades were made at Blatnick with the new backboards and poles. That's all done. So now's a great time to resurface them, and we'll have a clean slate on every basketball court in the town. So that's a good thing. That is on Sourcewell. Elena has all the contracts and pricing for that. Number 13 is a resolution entering into a contract regarding mowing of Baker Avenue Park. Received quotes. I've given quotes to Elena. We reviewed them and we'll be awarding that at the end of this month.
All right. One thing to add just to the resurfacing, this was actually money that we took out of an old county grant. So it doesn't impact our budget whatsoever, and it's just kind of hanging out there. So we got some incredible pricing. So
We did.
Yeah.
We actually, we had pricing when COVID hit, and obviously the companies weren't having employees go out and do, so this kind of lingered for a few years, but in a way it's okay because we were able to get the new backstops up and upgrade the Blatnick Park. So
I'm still hoping to get more up.
yeah, so we'll keep trying to improve these sites and make them better for our people.
Great.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. And Lori, I think you've got one.
Number 7 is a resolution to hire our spring soccer referees. This is something we do every spring. It's a long list, only because once soccer starts, kids find out their spring sport schedules. So we thought we'd have a bigger list to cover ourselves. So we have enough referees. If we don't use them in the spring, we'll use them again in the fall.
Good idea.
Anybody have any questions? No? Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Economic development, historic preservation, environmental conservation.
So number 15 is a resolution to appoint a member to the Niskuna Conservation Advisory Council. Dan McPherson, he was happy to volunteer for wherever he was needed. And actually, Eric had a really good interview with him too, but he came to a CAC meeting and he liked that. So we're proposing to put him on the CAC right now. 16 is a resolution to appoint a student member to the Niskuna Complete Streets Committee. We've had really good student members on the Complete Streets Committee. I don't know if anybody remembers Jeff Corbin's daughter. She was amazing, and we've had a couple really good ones. We have a new one that's been coming. Her name is Maddie Hanna, and she's happy to be the student representative. She's already attended a couple meetings, so I think we should just formalize her there so she can put it on her college applications. Number 17 is a resolution to amend fees for fire inspections. So one of the first things that our new building inspector is doing is he's getting us up to speed with our fire inspections. Elena was able to find an old resolution we did so that we can charge for fire inspections, but it's a flat rate because it was something that we were working on when we were going to have Fire District 1 do the fire inspections of $250 per fire inspection. So we just recognize that some of the smaller businesses, like a flat fee may not be perfectly acceptable because lots of places like Glenville and City of Schenectady have a sliding scale based on square footage. So you could go into like, a mom and pop store and it would take you like 20 minutes to do a fire inspection and you could be in Lowe's for like 3 hours. So just to make it a little more fair, I think we have a proposal to amend the fire inspection fees by square footage. And then,
So is the inspector going to try to figure that square footage out when he's there doing that inspection?
no, it would
You're
just
gonna
be
do it by
threshold.
record?
So like 0 to 10,000 square feet would be like $100 for a fire inspection fee instead of a flat $250. Like 10,000 square feet to 50,000 square feet would be like, 200. And then like, what did I say? 50,000 to like, 100,000 or something would be like the 250. So it's just going to be smaller for smaller businesses so that they don't have to pay that big flat fee for their fire inspections.
Okay, yeah, that sounds reasonable. How are you going to collect these fees?
So we're actually working off the City of Schenectady model because Kevin, that's where we stole him from. They're still actually giving me a hard time. But so what they do is they actually send a notice out to them that their fire inspection fees are due, and they require them to pay them before they get the inspection fee. And once the payment comes in, then they schedule it. So we're going to try and do that. That way we're not chasing them after the fire inspection fee. If there is a violation, once they can go back once. So if they get a violation, they are allowed one return inspection under the initial fee. If they go back again because they're not really being compliant, then they get a second inspection fee, and that one will probably have to be after. But the first one will collect ahead of time.
So that's similar to Town of Colony. You get one, if they have to come back, that one's free.
Mhm.
But they have the inspector try to collect the fee when he's there.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So-
If possible, they ask you, the business, to write a check if they can to the inspector.
Kevin says that the City of Schenectady, the businesses are so used to it that they hardly even have to reach out to them. They actually call to pay and schedule their fire inspection fee. Obviously, because we haven't been doing them regularly in the town of Niskuna, that may take a little while to get into the rotation. But the idea would be that every year for the places of assembly, commercial, they have to have an inspection. We'll get them on a rotation. They pay for it up front. We do the inspection. They get one return, and then if they need another one, they'll have to pay again.
I think the thinking in Colony was the reason they did it that way is in case they weren't able to get all the inspections done. Because they didn't want to have a business paying an inspection fee without an
Getting the
inspector
inspection.
actually doing the inspection.
And I mean, I think that makes sense. The town of Colony is actually, it's bigger than the City of Schenectady. So they've got, by 40,000 people, they've got a lot more commercial too. I think I could get our list. It's maybe like 200 businesses. And we're only going to mail the ones that we think that we can accomplish in the month. So, and then we'll get them all in a rotation. So it shouldn't be like a terrible amount. I'm not too worried about them getting lost. Whereas the town of Colony, they just have so many businesses. I can completely understand why they do it that way. Yeah.
And Laura had you gathered a bunch of pricing information.
I
from
actually think the
area.
town of Colony might be one of
I
the ones
think-
that I
I
like.
think they're on there. So if you wanted her to share that out just to sort of see how
Oh, yeah.
others do it.
I just want to make sure that if we collect a fee,
We do it.
that inspection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We'll make sure. Like, it has to have a threshold. Like, if we collect the money within a week, we'd have to do the inspection or something like that.
And the new building inspector does fire inspections too, right?
Yep.
Is that what you were saying? So at least we have a little capacity.
Yeah, it's actually been really awesome. So if one of them leaves, it's great. I am very happy with our new building inspector. And then the last one, I'm adding from the floor. So the Climate Smart Communities the Climate Smart Communities grant that we've been working on since 2021, we authorized the grant to be submitted in 2021. We accepted it in 2022, Resolution 2022-37. Later in 2022, the town board authorized moving the money from the grant from the fund balance, Resolution 2022-122. And then we awarded the contract in 2024 to Climate Action Associates. He's been working away on it. We accepted the first part of the greenhouse gas inventory the end of 2024, Resolution 2024-212. When we went to pay, we realized that the money that was moved from the fund balance in 2022 didn't get carried forward. And so we're just thinking to make sure that everything's right. We'll redo the resolution of 2022 to put the money back where it was supposed to be so that I can pay these invoices. And we just discovered that a couple days ago, or I would have put it on the agenda. And that is called a resolution authorizing expenditures from the fund balance. Any questions on those ones? Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Laura. And police and public safety.
Good evening, everyone. Number 18, we're going to pull. That's going to go on for May because we're probably not going to get those bids back until, we're not going to get those bids back until April 25th on a Friday, which is past the meeting. Number 19 is a resolution to surplus vehicles, a regular rotation of decommissioning vehicles. We are going to be decommissioning a 2016 Impala, a 2020 Explorer, and a 2021 Explorer. Number 20 is a resolution to authorize the purchase of a police vehicle. As many of you know, one of our police vehicles was struck while on a traffic stop, brand new police vehicle. And the damage that it sustained totaled the vehicle. There's good news and bad news to that. The good news is we're going to be able to purchase the vehicle back for $1,850. And the last time we did that, we took about $8,000 worth of parts off of a previously crashed vehicle and made our money back and then some. But in conjunction with that, with the monies that we're going to receive from that, because we are purchasing 2 traffic and community engagement division vehicles through the burn grant, we're going to use these monies to purchase an admin/DD vehicle, similar to what we had done in the past with the Durangos that you see out there currently, instead of purchasing another patrol vehicle. We have 2, I know it's confusing, we have 2 patrol vehicles that are on order right now, 2 Ford Explorers that should be here within the next couple of weeks. We have 2 traffic and community engagement vehicles that we're purchasing off the burn grant. So again, rather than backfilling another patrol vehicle because we got the burn grant, we're going to cycle out one of the admin DD cars that need to be replaced. Does that make sense to everybody? So it's a 2023 Durango, similar to the other 2 that we bought in the past couple of years for the admin. It's on state contract, the Onondaga contract. It's $39,852.80. Number 21 is a resolution to authorize the purchase of Motorola vehicle equipment using grant money. It's LPRs. It's going to be dash cams, including our body-worn cameras. And then it's going to be radios. Again, this is under the burn grant. These are under Sourcewell contract through Motorola. The total amount of that is $54,816.14. Again, reimbursed
by the burn grant. And then I just need to add from the floor, we got it last minute. We received notification from the district attorney's office for the DCGS Discovery Grant award that we get annually. It's a little bit less than we've got in the past. We asked for just over $40,000. We got $26,000 awarded to us. The grant as a whole was significantly reduced, but we're happy to get any money because this, again, is money that goes towards that clerk position that John Serrata fills at the window during our discovery processing for our department and also helping our community. Does anybody have any questions on that? Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan. Any other discussion? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn
Motion to adjourn.
in a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. We're going to restart in a minute.